What's wapa?
She's got you running errands, picking up wedding dresses. Wapa!
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
You're now listening to Cutmaster Cast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Cutmaster Cast, your weekly fix for all things weddings. My name is Chris Romero.
And my name is Tony Pacheco. What's up, everybody?
What's up, you guys? We are DJs from Cutmaster Music, coming to you out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We are thrilled to finally be back on again and bring you another packed episode. And this week on Season 2, Episode 63, we are diving into fresh insights, wedding expert tips, and some behind-the-scenes stories from our recent events. And make sure to share this episode with all of your fellow wedding enthusiasts and follow us at Cutmaster Music on all socials to stay in the loop.
Yep, check them out. We got a bunch of beefy episodes with a lot of good content, honestly.
That's right. We like our episodes beefy.
We do like them beefy here at the
Nice,
Cutmaster Cast.
Nice and beefy. But yeah, so and a little disclaimer. Let's start out with this because there's going to be a little bit of change to the episodes moving forward. Some of you, I think really more so, especially the DJs, are used to us going back to the music. That was kind of our whole thing, is that we're DJs first and we always like to take it back to the music.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we have been hit with some copyright strikes. And so we are going to have to move forward without doing back to the music, at least in the sense that we used to do it, where we used to play the tracks and we give you guys some awesome, tracks that we were either playing at events or
songs we were liking.
Yeah, all that
funny
stuff.
songs or whatever, but yeah.
We enjoyed it. We got actually pretty good feedback that you all enjoyed that as well. And unfortunately, that's just, both YouTube and now Spotify has hit
I
us.
thought we were cleared on Spotify.
We were, and
wow.
they've moved forward with some new stuff, and I got to notice that they were slapping us on the hand. So,
Yeah. So for the viewer and the listeners out there, that just means new segments.
That's
new
right.
content, So.
Unfortunately, if they do, it looks like we might get hit with some of our previous episodes being taken down.
Ooh.
So we might
See what happens.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens there, and we might have to go back and just take out that segment and repost it. But we'll, anyways,
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
we're gonna figure it out. It's gonna make us get creative.
Yeah.
So
New content moving forward.
I'd like to get some feedback though from you, especially the DJs out there. Would it make sense for us to get on and do a back to the music segment where we talked about tracks that we're playing, in the sense of naming the track, the title, how we used it, and how it would work, but you wouldn't get to hear it, and I think that's just where it would fall flat with.
It's kind of hard we can do a pretty good job at explaining the song, but there's a few listeners who just want to hear the version and be like, oh, well, let me go find it, versus hearing us explain it, So.
Right. So anyways, unfortunately, no more back to the music in the sense that that we used to do it.
It's sad.
So yeah, but oh well, I was gonna play my my music here, or sad music. There we go.
We can still play The Price is Right song. So that's cool.
That's not on copyright strike yet. All right. So anyways, let's get into this episode. We want to talk about, it's been a few weeks here since we've recorded, and we've had a few events that have happened since then. I know I've been out at Sandia Event Center. I was out at Sandia Resort. I'll talk about that one in a little bit too, because that was a cool event. And then last week I was at Hotel Albuquerque.
Nice.
Where have you been playing?
I was at La Posada. Then let's see. Then where was Nick and Lizzie's at? Christina and Harry. They were at Four Seasons, and then La Fonda. So
yeah, so
all the
Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the Santa Fe, the king of Santa Fe right now.
We're doing what we can. I feel like we're seeing all the inquiries coming in from these hotels, and it's all from we heard it from our hotel. We heard it from our
referrals.
Yes, we're crushing it. So, and Victoria's out there too. She's definitely well in the trenches in La Fonda and Four Seasons. I feel like we're there a lot. I'm at La Posada again this weekend. So, but yeah, they've been fun. They've been good ones.
Cool. Let's talk about maybe some of the highlights that have happened at some of these.
Okay.
I was out at Sandia Resort last week, actually on Monday. So this was cool. I wanted to talk about this one because it was a fun event and just different for me personally.
Yeah.
And this one is it's a corporate event. We've done this event for this company the last, I want to say, 2 years. And what they do is they hire me to come out and just be an onstage DJ.
Nice.
So picture your typical corporate conference where they've got different speakers throughout the day. And this is long. It goes from 8 in the morning until, starting with breakfast for them, until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And they divide it up, 2 halves of the day with lunch in between. And this year they had a few breaks. One of them, two of them during the morning session and the afternoon session, they were an hour long. So it was a little bit different for me in that I got to actually DJ.
Nice.
During that time.
Yeah.
And so, because in previous years, it was me just DJing for them, like as they were they were walking in, and then I would do walk-up music for like the speakers. They would do some awards, and I would play some like background music as they were walking up to get their award and stuff like that. And then really that was it. But this year I actually had some segments.
They just had a couple hour sessions where they were like, go for it. Just freestyle.
And so that was cool. But the production on this one was next level.
Yeah.
It really showed me what is going on. And so we do a lot of stuff. We put a lot of stuff out there that you guys see, and it might seem like, oh, we can kind of do anything. And we really can't. We specialize mainly in weddings, in the private event sector, with providing sound, lighting, emceeing, obviously DJing, and that's really our sweet spot.
Yeah.
The corporate scene, though, is a lot different.
It's a beast. It's quite the beast.
It's a beast when it comes to the production. So this one, they brought in a company, a nationally known company. Go West is their name. And this was just next level. They had a 20-foot by probably 35-foot video wall, and then 2 large 20-foot screens on either side of that. Inside of the Sandia ballroom, the main stage, the big, huge ballroom, the biggest one that they've got. And then the lighting there was amazing too. Hey. So all of this is, production-wise. And then they had a whole crew. I mean, behind that video wall, there's probably like 15 people back there doing different things.
Yeah.
One was in control of the microphones, doing deck slides.
Everybody has a designated job.
Got a job. And then out in the front of house was they had me with a headset that was connected to someone that was making all the calls for the run of show.
Wow. So all the comms is basically you're hearing everything.
I'm hearing everything. Yeah. And they're telling me, okay, when to have the music, walk-up music for this person ready, be on standby,
Did you find that they communicated well? Were you having to be on your toes?
It was very good.
Yeah?
Yeah. And everything was like super planned out.
Nice.
Now, the only things that were tricky and challenging, which they were super thankful for me afterward, because this is the first time we've worked together, and I think with anybody out there, any vendor, the first time working with somebody is always pins and needles.
Yeah.
It's just we don't know each other. How do you work? How do you do things? I think they were like that with me handling a lot of the music.
Yeah.
They didn't know if I could do it or not. And so they let me handle all the music, right? But then there were some times when basically the guy that was kind of the I don't know, I guess maybe the MC, if you want to call him, is like the one main guy that kind of brought everybody up on the stage and things like that and said things. He went off script like a couple of times. Oh. And one of those times he was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and ask DJ Chris here to throw something on. I want us to get up out of our seats a little bit, have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know this was happening, and it's happening like in real time.
You're like, what?
And so immediately I just was like, let's go to,
How many people?
500. Yeah, I believe it was 500.
Yeah, so you're in Sandia, big ballroom.
Big ballroom.
Yeah.
And just packed.
Yeah. It's huge.
Table, like tons of tables everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, let's just boom, Cupid shuffle. Let's go.
Yep,
let's get them up out of their seats.
Yeah.
And of course, people immediately got up, started dancing. And before you knew it, within 20 seconds, 30 seconds of the song, the whole place is up doing the Cupid shuffle.
Yeah.
So it was cool. And they didn't do the whole song. It was just like a minute and a half.
Those are moments that are just organic and fun and happen off the cuff and kind of break the tension in between these kind of mundane tasks of being at a corporate event. This dude
Right.
just whips out the Cupid Shuffle and we all just go. You know, what is this, a flash mob? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, that's so cool. That just happened like that.
It was cool, and it just kind of on the spot doing something
Mhm.
like that. So they came up to me afterward and were like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." With
Nice.
some of the stuff that kind of happened on the fly.
Hell yeah.
They were thankful. So it went over well. It was fun. It was cool. I hope they have me back again next year. For me on the production side, like I said, it was just different. I'd never been a part of a show that was like that, where everything was so like to the second, to the minute planned
Yeah.
out. And somebody in comms telling me in my ear what was going to happen, when to do it, when to play this, when to play that. They did a brand new logo reveal, like because they were rebranding.
Yeah.
And so they gave me those pictures like on the fly to throw up on my DJ booth, and
Oh my gosh.
stuff. So and they had a countdown when this happens. We're doing the reveal, and so it was cool. Like I mean, it was
Nice.
I was glad to be part of it. It was pretty neat. So
Nice.
that was just a different. It's outside the wedding,
Yeah.
our wedding universe, right?
Definitely outside the wedding universe,
So-
but it still like involves music, and it shows you like the role of a DJ can go so far beyond a nightclub. You know, like there's so many different avenues that you can choose as a DJ, and I feel like not a lot of people think about that. They always think about, oh, I want to be nightlife, nightclub, and it's like, dude, we get paid a lot of money to do these things the right way and to not miss. And that's goes to on any kind of like service level kind of job. But I feel like if you can find a way to get in there like we have, it's super smart and it's really lucrative. But like we said, it's a beast, man.
What I like about it
It's
too, actually, it reminded me of something that happened this past weekend at my event as well.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned the appreciation, right? Like, and just how people really appreciate it, or when
like
you
a
find
wedding?
the clients that appreciate what you do,
For any client.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what was cool about this one. Like, first of all, because they'd had me the last couple of years, and I only see them once a year for this conference, and they came up to me, a few of them. Hey, Chris, so great to see you again. We're so excited to have you back. Like, immediately off the bat, that's just like cool. That's a good feeling, right?
Oh yeah.
Then at the
So
end of
nice.
it, when they're appreciative, when new people I had never met and dealing like with Go West, they were super appreciative, and and what you really help an event go off without a hitch and
Yeah.
be seamless and smooth. It just, you're right. Like it's cool. It's fun to be appreciated. I was talking with my wife. She's been dealing with just some stuff at her job. She's a school teacher, and I
See?
think
Unsung heroes.
unsung heroes, man.
Underappreciated.
And it's tough because I think this goes for any job. All of us want appreciation.
We want to get recognized for the work we do as
Yeah.
human beings.
And you want to feel that what you
Nice.
do is of value,
Yeah.
is worth something. And, I feel like, honestly, we get that every weekend. And like this past weekend, I had somebody that came up to me and they were like, I bet you get tired of doing this, or of DJing and doing this week after week after week. And I'm like, no, this is, we say it all the time. I get to be a part of the Super Bowl every week.
Yeah.
Like, this is the greatest job ever.
Yeah.
And every single week I get appreciation. Like,
Yeah.
I literally made or was a part of making somebody's best day happen, like
Yes.
in their life up to that point.
And because humans are so unique, we never get the same wedding twice. We
Right.
definitely have some similar elements that we can pass on and make it a successful event, but we're always dealing with new people, new music. That's a cool thing about music. It's always changing, right? Every year there's something that's hitting in October that was hitting last year. So we're always having to evolve and change, and that's fun and exciting, I feel like. But then, like you're saying too, the appreciation that you get at the end of those events where they're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you so much. It really fills your cup, and you're like, you know what? Yes,
Like what I do,
Yeah.
is like matters.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
It feels like that for sure, and it's very nice. It's satisfying to have those events, talk with people, and to really deliver at such a high level. It's really fun.
yeah, we're really lucky in this industry. I think most of us vendors out there would say that, that what we do is tough, and it can be hard. It
Oh,
can
yeah.
be stressful, but it really is every single time of value. And, it's to have that appreciation, because I've worked many different types of jobs. I've been a teacher as well.
Yeah,
I worked
see?
at Sandia Labs. I used to work at a pharmaceutical company and a fab and the bunny suit and all that stuff, and just like, when you're a kind of in an industry where you kind of just churn and burn, like
you're just another gear in the machine,
or you're expendable, right? Where you're just another number and they can fill your slot like at any given point, and they just, I don't know. I've been there, I've done that, and there's nothing like what we get to do.
Well, it's fun because here you're Chris Romero. They book Chris Romero. You can't just get Chris Romero anywhere else. So we are, unique individual things that can be marketed and monetized and all of that, but that's because of who you are.
Right.
You're not trying to be something you're not, or you're not like a unique, or not. You're not a something that can just be replicated. It takes time to build that through life experiences and all of that. So
totally. No. So kudos to all you wedding industry vendors out there, because what you do matters.
It's true.
I
always like when they do, like in the toast, they'll be like, shout out to all the vendors that made this happen. I'm like, yes, shout out, yes, thank you.
Nice. So tell us about.
Let's see. So I've had a couple weddings. I actually mixed up two of them. I had them backwards because it was a double header. But this one was possibly my wedding of the year. This one was at Bishop's Lodge. Not a
wedding of the year.
Yeah. This one was crazy. So this wedding was at Bishop's Lodge. They did the ceremony at the chapel, they did the dinner in the dinner area, and then they did the dance in the ballroom area. But each section was floral to the max. Everything looked so beautiful. They hired a secondary AV company to like work with us. So that's like another level of like why it was awesome, because it was easy setup and tear down.
Yeah, heck yeah.
But we were able to just have such a successful wedding because of having all of these good team members in place. We had a good wedding planner, good photographer. But what I liked about this space was how they transformed the dance hall space. They put up drapery to cut the room in half, even though the guest count was 200, which I thought was a genius idea. You made the room feel small, intimate, like a nightclub. I showed a buddy of mine a video of it, and he's like, dude, that looks like Omnia in Las Vegas. And so what they did is they had these like big beach balls, and then they had fringe layered over it, so it would look like these like disco ball-esque. We had our disco ball, and then they also had the AV company bring in another set of tall movers. We had our movers, so we had all these different levels of production, and it was cool because we were able to collaborate with them. He was watching me DJ. I would tell him, okay, we're going to be doing this, and it was such a fun wedding. They had props, cowboy hats, neon lights. Everybody was dancing. Everybody was celebrating. Nobody was there to not dance. It was packed the whole time.
You know what I've noticed?
It was just crazy fun.
When you're talking about props, I know a lot of people out there that are planning weddings. You might think that some of that stuff might be cheesy, and we're not going to do that at ours. I highly suggest it. Like
a
props. Props are cool. I mean, I can't count how many events we've done with glow sticks.
Spinelli just did a video about that.
It's awesome. Like I talked about that event recently with Desiree and Brando's wedding, where literally they had a robot come out. Oh, yeah. You might think like, why would I do a robot at my wedding? Like the energy it injects onto a dance floor.
Yeah.
Just you don't have to have it out there the whole time, right?
10 minutes.
But those little things, you bring out the neon tubes, the props, the hats, and all that stuff. It injects like the energy just immediately like increases.
It really does help, and it may come off, or I guess it seems corny, but honestly, it just only helps. But yeah, Spinelli was saying too, like people, it's awkward to dance with nothing in your hands. So when you have a tangible prop or something to play with, or just have, it's
blinking.
Yeah, it's just more engaging. It's fun. It reminds you of Vegas in a way, and so there's all of these different layers that people don't really think about. They just think, oh, it's cheesy, it's corny, but
right.
It was just it was a great wedding, went off without a hitch. Like everything went really well. It's just one of those ones where no mistakes. I drive home, and I'm thinking home run.
Right.
Like, holy cow, that was good. I always am. I'll say home run when we have a great day. And great dance floor. We're like, boom, home run. That was fantastic. That one was crazy because the amount of energy that was on the dance floor during those times, you could see the bride and groom were definitely tossed towards the end of it, but they were good. They lasted. They had fun.
They made it.
And it was just a really, really fun wedding. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, we'll post a photo of what that looked like because it was just, I was blown away at the floral that they used. They had a basically like a 6-foot not stage, but like I don't know what you would call it, but like a barrier in between me and the dance floor, and it was maybe 10 feet long, no, maybe 4 feet high, and then they had a white panel across it, and then they had disco fringe on it, flowers, and then our tubes only complemented it. We sprinkled them. We only used like 4 or 5 because it was just too much. So we did that, and everything just looked really good. When the disco ball hit, we were allowed to use the hazers, so the beams.
Oh, I saw those pictures.
Beaming.
So I was wondering, like, I saw those pictures. I was like, how did you get the beams to come through? It looks so good.
Yeah. You got to, like, I don't know somebody or something, because I feel like that haze, they get mad quick.
Right.
But we had no problems this past on that wedding day. So that was really good. And then I also just had one at La Posada, which was a really good time. That was a really fun one. I like La Posada because it's kind of spread out, but all in one as well.
I haven't been there in a long time, and
Not the best load in, load out.
no, it just the load in, load out for me turned into a nightmare. So I had to kind of,
It's not the best.
if
It's
I
tough.
don't have to do a wedding there,
It's that Santa Fe area, man. It's so hard to get
the
a vehicle.
plaza is tough for me.
And so with what we do and the expectations that we have, it's not a lot of equipment, but what we bring in, requires some space. And man, it's tough. It's definitely tough. But that's where the venues are, so we got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's it's all good.
Yeah.
We've got you and Victoria
Yeah,
out there
exactly.
in Santa Fe. There's some places I'll do, but really they have to have enough room for me to get my trailer in there and be able to park. That's the problem I was running into out there.
You can't. Where do you put it? Once you set up? Where do you park the thing?
There was one time I went out there. This was the kind of what put me over the edge. Actually, I was at La Posada, and the Spanish markets were going on, and I didn't know. And so I couldn't park anywhere.
bad.
And there's only one load-in area there, on the side road,
Mhm.
and I couldn't load in. And so it became just a nightmare.
It was a real problem.
It
You were
became a
running
big
out of
problem
time.
with
Yeah.
time and everything. And then I had to park somewhere, and of course, just every time I was going out there, I was getting a $70-$80 parking ticket.
Yep.
And I got
And you had to walk.
I got ticketed once being in the loading zone.
Oh wow.
It was ridiculous.
See, and it's
So it
just,
pushed me over the edge.
yeah,
I was
and
like,
there's
all
just
right.
those venues where you're like, you know what? I don't know if I'm gonna be doing another wedding here anymore.
Well, and it's just
there's plenty more coming in.
So that was the thing. I was gonna say we're fortunate enough
Yes, we are lucky.
that we were in high enough demand, here locally, that I just was able to start, taking the events here in Albuquerque and not having to do those. And nothing against Santa Fe, I actually don't mind it. And so I'll do Bishop's
space.
Lodge, fine.
Yeah.
Four Seasons is fine. Loretto Inn and Spot Loretto is that works.
They at least
fine.
have a lot
Yeah, they've
that's
got-
not covered. You
Right.
know what I mean? You can get in there, figure it out.
yeah. So it's just logistics,
It's
But-
tough.
Cool.
Yeah, so those, let's see, there's that one, La Posada, had a doubleheader that was at Four Seasons, La Fonda. But yeah, it's been, we're right in the trenches right now. It's wedding season.
We're in the thick of it. Mine this past weekend was at Hotel Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Another great wedding. The setup for that one was interesting. They had, imagine head table and, on one side,
Mhm.
dance floor, and then seating on the opposite side. But the head table actually had seating all the way around the table. So you had people that had their backs to the dance floor, which was an interesting.
What room are you in?
We were in the Franciscan ballroom, which is the
Okay.
smaller one at
Yeah.
the front of the hotel.
Got you.
So
Okay, so their back, the head table's back is to that big window. Is that correct?
yes, okay, but they had seating all the way around the table. So then you had some people whose back were to the dance floor.
What?
Yeah,
And so they're facing the window?
So they're facing the window. Yeah.
What the heck? Okay.
That's the first time I'd seen that, set
Did
up.
they
but
talk about it? Did anybody mention anything about it?
I just,
mean,
they just showed me what the layout was, right?
You
Which
go,
was
okay.
head table and then DJ over here, kind of on the
Daddy.
side, on
Yeah.
the corner, which was fine.
Yeah.
And it didn't affect my setup or anything. I
No.
just never,
That's
so it
weird.
was kind of like, it was more like a family style head table, just all over on that side. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that would have been my first choice of way of setup, but
The bride and groom, they set up their tables long, very long, family style is what they said. And their goal was, we want you to meet at least 3 to 6 people, and you can't leave without meeting or interacting with 3 to 6 people in here. And so, it was an interesting way to like interact and all of this. One thing was interesting was they didn't have lighting. They didn't have string lighting in that tent, which they always do. And so we had to use a lot of candles. Shout out Lauren, Just Lovely, because it was, we were like, it's going to get dark. We need to move. So we actually pivoted. We moved everything 15 minutes. We moved everything ahead 15 minutes because we were going to run out of sunlight for toasts and all of that.
right.
It looked okay. We were actually very pleasantly surprised on like how moody and intimate it was. Like, we're like, oh, this is kind of nice. You'd probably want the string lights, but it worked out.
Yeah.
So, to bring it back, the table and having that family style, I thought was unique to have, to encourage interaction, conversation, and meeting new people.
Right. So, I actually feel like this is a good segue into kind of our topic today,
Okay.
which is going to be on event design.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk about a recent conversation that I had with someone at an event. This was actually a vendor, and I'm not going to use any names because this is somebody that I actually I have immense respect for.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you where. I'm not going to tell you who. I'm just going to talk about the situation, and I'd like to see what your thoughts are out there on this.
Yeah.
And it sparked up some good conversation within our company, and
We were all in the group chat just going off.
yeah, it's just like, it makes you start to think about the way you do things and operations and things. And really, like I said, this is about event design and the aesthetic look that we as DJs provide at an event.
Yeah, and things we need to pay attention to and not overlook and make sure that, like, look, others are looking at these things and thinking about those things. Even though you may, it's fine, it's not. Or
Right.
it could be.
Well, and I
True.
think so. Something that we find challenging as DJs is that, so first of all, we typically are the ones providing the lighting when it comes to the dance floor lighting, a lot of the up lighting, and so in essence, that becomes part of the decor, right?
Yep.
But a lot of times we are not providing the true decor of the room. We're not doing drapery. We don't do pipe and drape or any of that stuff. And a lot of times our couples are hiring somebody else to do that. So in this instance, they had hired somebody to do a sweetheart table, some pipe and drape behind them, and
Great.
that was pretty much it. Yeah, it looked great. It looked nice. So I set up our LED pixel tubes, around this. I thought it looked really nice. We've used this setup many times. One of the things I do want to preface this with is that I always discuss this ahead of time. And usually at my final event review, I do mine the week of the wedding. And so we will talk about the aesthetic look of...
Show them pictures.
And show them pictures. Like, does this look good to you? Do you like this look? So I was just talking with my couple for this weekend on Monday at our meeting, and I showed them pictures because she had talked about, it's actually, their wedding is at Hotel Albuquerque as well. It's going to be the exact same setup in this room. And I showed them the pictures, right? And actually, she didn't care for that. She looked at that table and was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But they're just doing like a sweetheart table.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, great. Let me show you some pictures of just the sweetheart table with the pixel tubes around it. And tell me, do you like this? Tell me yes or no, and then let's work from there, right?
Right. Get their approval of what we can provide. So
Right.
in that way, we're all on the same page moving forward into the day.
And I think that's what the biggest thing is, the being on the same page,
Yeah.
right? And so this was interesting. I had set up our pixel tubes, been approved by the couple, and as I finished up the setup, the vendor was still there with the decor, and I'm out there taking pictures in the middle of the dance floor.
Yeah.
And she comes over to me and says, hey, Chris, you should really, I just want to tell you, you should really check in with your couples about the the tube lighting. She's like, I had 2 couples recently that came to me after their events crying that they hated the way their pictures looked afterward with the tube lighting in it. And so I found that interesting. First of all, it caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
As she came up to me, because I was like, I was trying to figure out a way to approach
I've never
this.
heard that.
I
Personally.
never have either.
Right. So that's where it kind of came from. I can see where that would come from.
Yeah, and so I couldn't tell whether what she was telling me was true, because it made me
for real.
it made me wonder. I'm like, wait a minute. How many times do people go back to a decor company to talk about their pictures, unless these were people they knew? I don't know. And it was weird. Something was off about it, right?
Yeah. It
And
seems
I was like,
she's
or does
digging
she?
for an excuse to like? She may personally might not like.
That's
them and
that was
you know
like
what I
the
mean?
feeling I got, like that she didn't personally like the look of it, And so we kind of got into a little conversation about it, and I asked her, I was like, was this us, our events? And she couldn't tell me. She's like, she's like, I don't know. She's like, all I know is that they didn't like it. And so I started explaining to her, like, well, we always get approval. In fact, that couple I remember specifically that night wanted an EDM/rave type of vibe, right? And
Tubes will do that.
right.
I've been to shows where I'm like, oh, the Tubes.
Well, and I told her too. I said, so here's the thing. I said, this was actually our solution toward providing something that looks aesthetically pleasing with your setup, because we need to provide dance floor lighting. But in all honesty, your traditional DJ lighting on either stands, on T-bars, it looks ugly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing. When they get some pictures, it doesn't look that nice.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, what can we do to provide something that not only looks nice, but provides a punch on your dance floor for like lighting? And that's what our pixel tubes do. We can control them. They do cool zip effects. They twinkle. They'll strobe. We can make them any color we want. Specifically, these tubes are actually designed for video and
Movies.
photography.
Yeah.
And we get nothing but compliments on them all the time. Not to say that there's some people that don't like them, which is why I understand some people may not like them. So I ask them, do you not like this look? Because we can do
I've had
towers.
couples completely say, we are not about the tube look. Can we move with like movers and uplighting? And totally fine. You know what I mean? There's a lot of cool options. And I've definitely had it this year where they were like, no tubes were cool. It's like, great.
Yeah. So then our conversation moved forward a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, tell me what's the solution to that? Like,
Right?
what is it?
It's
then
wedding day. We have to figure out an answer or on a timeline.
I'm like,
What's the
what is your
solution?
solution? I was
Yeah.
like, because we need to provide, they've paid us to provide dance floor lighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is what we've got, and we want it to look good. I was like, so what's your solution? And she couldn't tell me. She's like, well, I don't know. She's like, but this is what kind of got me. And this is where the conversation, it started burning a fire in me a little bit.
Yeah.
She said, all the couple has left after their wedding are their pictures. And that is the most important thing. And I was like, well, but for us, I was like, but the people at the party deserve a great day of experience too.
Yeah, that's how you create those photos.
Yeah. And I was like, they deserve an experience too. I was like, and that's important.
Yeah.
And she was like, and looked at me like that and did that. And I was like, that's not what this is all about. Like, it's not all about pictures.
Yeah.
I understand, like, we want great pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And they get great pictures all throughout the day. But she was like, well, they pay a lot of money to she goes, to decorate and have this beautiful sweetheart table, and then
It'll look great.
I was like, it looks fine.
Yeah. I understand where she's coming from.
Right.
She has to be, as the planner, the ultimate advocate for the bride, and they have to look out for the couple. That's her goal. I think the hard part is she's not understanding that we also have them first in mind.
Right.
We want those photos to look immaculate. How do you get there? You got to break it down a little. We have to have an awesome dance floor that people are candidly having fun, not forcing it to where the photos look cheesy, corny. Just looks like, you look at the photo and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a guy being thrown in the air. How awesome is that? Like, you look at photos like that and it's just like, we created those moments, and they don't realize that's us caring about the couple, because once we create those moments, All they have are those photos of the moments we created,
Right.
and they're happy. They're loving it. And
She was so concerned about the
get it.
look of the head of the sweetheart table, and I was like, that.
I get it, but no one gives a shit about that. I'm
I know.
so sorry. I shouldn't have said that, but no. I mean,
so
I care.
so here's
I
the thing.
care about it.
Like everything, it all matters,
It
right?
matters.
And we're trying to
I would
do
like for mine to look pretty cool.
everything that we can, but does that one picture of like you at your sweetheart table? So here's the thing, right? Like, this is what was fun.
And it wasn't even like it was bad.
No.
That's the thing.
It wasn't. And so this is what was funny. We're talking, and we're out there in the middle of the dance floor because I'm out there. I was taking pictures, like I said. One of the other vendors comes over, and she goes, "I just got to tell you, I love it when you guys are here. I love the setup of the tubes." And she mentions the tubes specifically, and I just shut up.
Yeah.
And the other vendor was just like, you could tell was kind of biting her tongue a little bit. She's like, "I love the look of that, and I love it when you guys are here because it looks so cool."
Yeah.
And so different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah, and I get it. I feel like it runs in the same vein of different DJs have different equipment. People work with different people, so they get different experiences based on that. So,
Right.
If you don't have, like you were saying, the app that allows us to control the lighting and, manage it, make it look elegant and beautiful during your dinner and during those special moments, because they are right there in the forefront of your first dance pictures, like those things. We care about that. And then the photographer really appreciates the lighting as well. But then also too, you want it to be dance floor and bump in. And so you got to find that just happy in between. And I feel like it's hard when you don't have, like, the app really allows you to just create those experiences and really dive in on cueing a strobe when the music is going. When I've seen a lot of these other tubes, they're great, but they're not Astera tubes, and it's hard to know unless you know.
There's
right?
a reason why these tubes that we use are literally $450
Yeah.
a tube. Like they're super expensive, they're pricey, and it's because of the technology
What
really
they
that's
do.
built into
Yeah.
it. And they're not all created equal.
All these other lights, they do a solid job at like mimicking, replicating what these do
In a picture,
on a
they're going to look exactly the same. On the dance floor, it's not going to do the same stuff.
You're not going to feel the lights. Like I always say, you feel our lighting. It feels like a production. It's not just on sound mode.
And we would know because we actually have a set of the other tubes.
Yes.
And we use them for other types of events.
I like them for accents.
Yeah.
I would not use them for a full-on show. I like them to act. You can add really, really cool tube lighting accents trickling down or sprinkling them all over. That's what I like those for.
Right.
But that's exactly it. Some people use those for the whole show, and it looks like it's not the best, right? It's just not. So
Yeah.
trying to find the happy medium of.
Well, so I think the heart of it for me is that it drives me nuts when any vendor, whether it's a DJ, a planner, a photographer, the florist, cake person, when they think that what they do is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's a team. Like it's all important. So the whole reason our show has evolved into what it is because we've taken photography and videography into consideration. Most DJs, a lot of them don't do that. They don't care. They're in their little party bubble, and I don't care. I don't care what the pictures look like. I'm gonna throw laser beams all over the bride's dress during the first dance.
Yep.
They don't think outside the box of what their impact is on other elements of this event.
Smack dab in the center of the background, right? Like,
right.
It's so important to make sure that those look clean and elegant, and having that, I think, is super important. And asking the photo video, like, this is what the room will look like lighting wise for photos during the first dance. Do you want me to change it?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Can you actually make the background white and then these a little darker? Oh, of course. Super easy. Boom. And then everybody's happy. They get good photos. We have clean lighting. Everybody,
But that just kind of ate at me when she was like, their photos were the most important thing.
You're like,
of the sweetheart table, and I'm like, honestly, that's not. Especially like for these people that are here, like they're looking to have this experience. That's why they also hired us, and she doesn't know what our process is and stuff. And that's what she was trying to make of the point. Like, I don't know. I'm just telling you, like, that, I don't, and she told me, I don't know what this couple wants here today. Cause I asked her, I was like, did they say that to you? And she goes, no. And I was like, okay, well then.
Yeah. So what's the problem here?
Yeah. I'm like,
your personal opinion? Or?
It's like, because we talked about this.
Yeah.
And
this is what they chose.
This is what they wanted.
Right. They wanted cherry, and you're saying we should give them grape? What?
Yeah.
We brought cherry. You know what I mean? It's like
right.
But I think we do a good job at trying to make sure we collaborate and make sure we're on the same page. But I think it goes to show you that, design and layout of your DJ equipment really speaks volumes to the overall event, and you want to make sure you're keeping that in mind with cable management, speaker placement, lights, all of that stuff matters. It's not just putting it up and hitting go. It's so much more than that.
And I think that's really kind of the lesson here, right?
Yeah.
Is just that, for you couples that are listening to this episode out there, talk with your DJ,
ask them
with
what
your
stuff.
decor,
Yeah.
and make sure it all comes together the way you want it, right? And then it's all going to fit together and look good. You might ask the DJ what lights they're planning on bringing, what options they have with your package, and just make sure that it all looks and feels, and you have to take all of that into consideration. That's what it's about. It's not just what it looks like out there. What's it going to feel like on your dance floor?
Mm-hmm.
What needs to happen? What do you want? What are your goals? And that's really what we get to the heart of, is like, well, what are your goals here? And a lot of people, most of them are hiring us because the entertainment and the atmosphere is one of the most important things to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're paying the price that they are for us, is because
they have a high value of it.
That's part of the experience for them, and they want we hear it all the time. We want our guests to have the best time ever, and we want them dancing all night long.
Yep.
We want great lighting. We want good, MC work and stuff like that, and so we do take into consideration the entire event, the aesthetic look. What's it going to feel like? And sometimes there has to be some compromise with some of that too.
There definitely has to be. I've definitely had couples who are like, you know what? My mom is, I don't know what the correct term is, but she gets seizures.
Yeah, has epilepsy.
Thank you. Yes. And so we can't do strobes for the whole evening,
Right.
right? Or just compromise on different lighting suggestions, right? They don't want the tubes. Being able to collaborate and work with them on what they want. And
being able to book a DJ that has the options.
Yeah.
Because if all they offer you are these, and this is all I've got.
Dance floor lighting.
Then you're stuck, and you might have pictures with green dots all over your dress.
I think it's super important to ask, do you have photos and videos of you in the space, right? I think we do a good job at providing all of that. I need to make sure for my wedding this weekend, I get a better picture of the room done, because I had one, but I was trying to show it to my couple, and it wasn't effective enough. So I'm going to try and get more pictures. That's my goal this weekend. But yeah, having the asking DJs, do you have pictures of what your lighting looks like in your venue, or even in any venue for that matter? Because then that can give them direction. And honestly, too, I feel like if they don't have pictures of their setup, that's going to tell you something right there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you just you never know what you're going to get. So
Yeah.
it might be a crapshoot.
We as professionals understand, look at this look. We need to make sure we're capturing this and recreating it for future business. Like, that's us as professional DJs. And then there's guys who, I've got equipment. We can figure it out,
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to move on to the next segment. We
Nice.
haven't done this one in a minute.
Yeah. Oh,
You know it.
you love it.
Going to do it
It's time.
to remember how to do the grab bag.
That was good.
Okay, so the grab bag, for those that have never seen it or don't remember or first time, we have gone to TikTok and basically grabbed a few different TikToks. We're going to play them for you all, and then we're going to have a little discussion on it. So let's see what we've got here.
What do we
Run
got?
the first one. Let's go.
You saw it here first, guys. This is going to be the new trend for 2025. We're no longer going to carry bouquets. We're going to carry long garlands. Yeah,
That looks heavy.
I like this.
She thinks that's the next trend for 2025.
I like it.
Bouquet on steroids.
Yeah.
That's what I think that looks like.
I think it's cool. It's got
That's
a
crazy.
unique new vibe to it. You can use it as a table runner for your head table once it's done.
Yeah, I mean that might. I mean that's going to make for one hell of a bouquet toss.
For real. That's going to knock somebody out. My gosh.
I mean, well, or it could maybe 15 people are going to get a part of the bouquet.
Catch it at once.
No, it's just that it's going to be torn apart.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
I thought that was interesting.
It's just, we all
What do you think? What do you think out there, my planners? Is this
Cool?
Are
Is
we
that
going to
not
see this
cool?
trend for 2025?
We all want to be different. We all want to be new. I get it. I've been seeing like less bouquets, but that's
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing too. Like less bouquets or
I know
really small.
yes, the bride has one and the bridesmaids don't.
Right.
I've been seeing that a lot, and a really small one.
All right. Here's the next one.
Nice.
Nerdy things my husband did at our wedding that our guests cannot stop talking about. He put out Legos for guests to make themselves. To be honest, it was a unique idea. When they did, they were added to our Lego guest book.
Yes.
Then he also made mini versions of all the guests to show where each of them appointed to sit. He also got me some special kind of flowers too. We made a special guide for our guests so they didn't get confused. This is especially for the elderly. Then I put these QR codes around that gave everyone disposable cameras on their phones. And the next day, all the pictures were out in a shared album for everyone to view. Used an app called POV to do this.
Very nice.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
the
a few
Lego
of-
the Lego thing was cool.
The Lego thing is awesome.
Yeah.
I really like that. The Lego guest book. It's an interesting display piece because you usually with your guest book, if you're going that route, you're gonna put it up in your home. So.
Well, I mean, he must
cool.
be an avid Lego guy and builder.
I love
that was
Lego.
Kind of cool. I mean,
I love Lego.
Yeah.
I don't know if my fiance would be down.
to sit there with you for hours
I would
building
do it.
Legos of everybody.
I would do it. It's only 150 things.
Yeah.
I would do it. I think it could be really cool. And then that POV camera, though.
Yeah,
That's really sweet.
that with the QR code. I dig that idea
Mm-hmm.
totally.
The photo scavenger hunt, I've always wondered how effective those are, when they have like a list of 10 photos. But I like the QR code. I like adding to it. You don't get to see them until the next day. I think they only give you 20 or so.
I saw another one of these that talked about basically the same idea, and it was kind of like the scavenger thing, but on the back of, I think it was maybe like the menu or something like that on one of the cards that they had at the table, it had a checklist of different items for guests to take pictures of, and then with the QR code was on there too.
Yeah,
and so it gave their guests like these different looks, to try to get throughout the day. I can't remember what all the items were, but
the bride and groom kissing or
Right.
whatever.
But it was cool.
A shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is basically the new hashtag.
Right.
It used to be 5-8 years ago, hashtag whatever, and all of those were in a collection on Instagram or whatever. And now I like this a little bit more, honestly, the POV.
Cool. All right. Last one.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it says, surprised mom by wearing her wedding dress during rehearsal.
Yeah. For those of you that can't see this on YouTube, they've got the camera on mom during rehearsal. She sees her come in and she immediately starts crying. The bride is wearing
Looks
mom's
good.
wedding dress during rehearsal. I thought that was cool.
That's very cute. Mom can't even look at it. She's barely containing herself.
Yeah, mom.
She's in tears. You know what I saw earlier, or just like a couple weeks ago, was brides are taking their mom's wedding dresses and taking them to a, seamstress or bridal gown and redoing it.
And like
modernizing it.
like altering it to
Exactly, altering. That's the word I was thinking. But that's how, one, they're saving money, and two, kind of keeping it in tradition, because all of these moms have their weddings in like wedding dresses in boxes, big old boxes.
Oh yeah, they've all saved them.
Yeah.
Like,
Does your wife have hers?
Probably.
Yeah, just curious.
Wouldn't surprise me. I know, like a lot of current brides have been doing stuff to because think about it. Like, when do you ever wear that dress again? Never. Well, except for there, like that would be kind of cool.
Right.
Like that's repurposing it, right? But most are
Makes you
doing.
feel so good. You're like, yes, I spent so much money on it.
A lot of them are doing like photo shoots or photo opportunities in their dresses, since they're never going to wear them again. Like, for example, jumping into the pool with it on, right?
Oh, like on a random weekend?
Either that or even at the wedding.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
or there was, I've seen some, where they're, I don't know, they go and do a photo shoot out in the ocean with the
Nice.
dress on
Once-
or
yeah.
in
Like,
mud
okay,
or
when
whatever.
am I ever going to wear it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's I thought it was a cool way.
I like it.
Repurposing.
Oh, yeah. Very. And that's an easy one. Just wear it for the rehearsal. It's for an hour or so,
Right.
I like that. That's a good one.
Cool. All right. Anything else that you can think of that we should
Not that I can
talk about
think,
today?
Wedding season. We're in the think of.
Where are you at
think
this
of it.
weekend?
I am at La Posada.
I'm going to be at Hotel Albuquerque once again. Now, this one's interesting. I'm interested to see what happens with it. You know how we talk about timelines, right?
Yeah.
So this one, the original timeline that they gave me starts at 2:30.
Yeah.
And was planned to go to midnight. Let's count how many hours that is. 2:30,
It's at least 10, right?
It's about 10, right?
Yeah.
So 9.5 hours, and 6 of those hours was open dancing.
That's this weekend?
That's this weekend. Now,
Aye.
okay, so we had our meeting this past week,
Nice.
and I sat them down. We talked about it, and I think they've seen the light.
Good.
We have a check-in at 10 o'clock.
I love that.
Yeah.
My couple saw the light fully. I talked to them about it. We're done at 10:30, maybe 11. It's like not a hard, but like 75% will probably stop at 10:30. But if the vibes are crazy, we can go to 11.
This is a
But
great.
even then, I'm like 11's cool.
Talk about such a controversial topic of discussion. So Meredith, who we had on a few weeks ago, this has been one of the biggest, I don't know if you want to call it, just controversial, a pain point for
hot
people. It's a super hot topic. Now, what I've noticed, because I went on and responded to her post about how we've always said 2 to 2.5 hours. It's a sweet spot for open dancing, and then people just started jumping all over it. But what I did notice, people from other parts of the world were the ones that were really hot over this. Like,
Interesting.
which it kind of makes sense. So I feel like, dancing and celebration is cultural, right?
Yeah.
And different cultures do different things.
I mean,
and
yeah.
they were talking about, when we have a wedding out at wherever this was,
Yeah.
Ireland or something, it's like at minimum 4 or 5 hours long. And then, Indian weddings, they celebrate for like 3 days.
So I was about to say that. I have one coming up this weekend. It's a 4-day bash. We're doing Friday, Saturday. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll party the whole time. And I've seen it more than once where Indian weddings on like a Sunday, on a random Thursday, and they go till midnight every time. It's a culture thing.
And so it's funny because you make a comment on a post, or you make a post and you put it out there, and people think that this is the way it is. I'm saying this and it's set in stone. No, like in general, what we have seen at probably 90% of our weddings,
Yeah.
the 2 to 2.5 hour sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
My wedding this past weekend, it went till 11:30, and everything was pushed back a little bit later. Their wedding started at 5.
Oh, wow.
And then after cocktail hour and stuff,
Yeah.
and they had a decent amount of people that were still there at 11:30, and that was a good time. But 9 times out of 10. Like we've been
Yeah, well,
talking about.
my wedding last weekend we had about 3 hours, 3 hours and 15, and it was strong that whole time. That's how I knew they were a good party crowd.
Gotta have the right people.
And they gave me all the correct music. I definitely had your top general stuff that you play at pretty much every wedding, but they had hits that I don't normally play, and they knew. I played Ohio is for Lovers by Hawthorne Heights, an emo song, and they erupted with that song. I would never play that, but they were like, "Play this. This will hit." We know, and it was Margaritaville. It was all their bros, all their fraternity brothers, and it was quite the moment, right? And I was like, "Okay, you guys said you didn't want any country, but gotta play Margaritaville."
Yeah. So it's all situational.
It's exactly. That's what I mean.
We throw things out there on socials.
It's a professional opinion, but everybody's unique and things change. You never know.
And you have to have vendors that are able to go with the flow. We're not saying, I'm 2 hours and I'm done.
Yeah.
No.
Our goal is to make sure that you and your guests leave that event thinking, wow, that was amazing. I could have danced the night away. That can look like so many different things in terms of like time. You know what I mean?
This wedding, I think they told me there's only gonna be about 75 people there.
See, and
So
that's another
75
challenge.
people with 6 hours of open dancing, and some of them are from out of town. So your out of towners here from in Albuquerque. A lot of things. So the dynamics you don't think about is like, well, they're all coming from sea level and coming up to elevation.
That's another factor.
It really is, and it's real. Like that stuff, it plays a role, right?
No, that's why my wedding, that was like the wedding of the year, they were all from the East Coast. And it makes so much sense why at the end of the night they were sloshed.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I tell my couples, look, I'm going to do whatever you all want.
We're there.
We're there, but let me just present the scenarios and the situations and the dynamics that you have at play here. You know, sometimes if you're in a casino, they don't get it. Like, especially if it's an all New Mexican wedding, like they're all local, you know, and your average age is over 50.
Yeah.
Guess what? They're not hanging out till no midnight. They're going to eat. They're going to dance for a little bit, and they want to go hit that casino before they go home. And you think all that's going to happen later at midnight? No.
Yeah, and I think we do a good job at painting those pictures, at creating those scenarios, and letting them visualize. Oh, okay, well, like they want the opening scene in Wedding Crashers, all those crazy party scenes. They want that, right? And again, they just don't know what that.
And that's really all it's about.
Oh yeah, we'll party till midnight. We got the room, but yeah.
What are your goals?
Yes.
What do you want to accomplish? So actually, this was interesting for my couples coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
I told them about, the ending of the night can honestly be an amazing moment. I showed them a past wedding. I was like, let me just show you really quickly here. And all the people are all in the middle of the dance floor that are left there that night. And they're going out fist pumping. And you can just see that that's moments that they want, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, the only way this happens is by ending it at a reasonable time when you have all those people still there. And it can be a moment that is talked about your event for forever, and it's going to leave the feeling, your guest with those feelings leaving your event. And you just have to paint that picture. And whether or not in the heat of the moment, this is what you want and want to do, it's fine. And that's why we have a check-in. It's like, how you feeling?
Check-in's been nice.
What do we want to do?
Yeah.
Because I know once that 10:30 time period comes around, I've seen it over and over and over. That's the drop-off.
Yeah.
The
check-in is always a little bit tricky too, because we're so good at what we do.
Right.
So we're killing it. It's bumping. It's high energy, but we see, okay, this could go, but we still have an hour and a half. I bet you we could do an awesome job at finishing this off in 30 minutes.
Well, and the thing is I like to so we see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this needs to end within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I want to let people know, because you can honestly get that room that's left there to hang out just a little bit longer, and they'll hang out because they'll be
we're
like,
here for 30 more.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And all I'm going to do is make an announcement. Like, we only got, have a few songs left.
Yeah.
We want you all to get out here with Jack and Jill,
They're like, all right, we're almost done.
Exactly. Like, we're almost done. And then we start building up that dance floor for those last 20, 30 minutes, right? And then go out with a bang.
Yeah, see, and there's like levels. It's all psychological. Like when you're able to implement those ideas on like, oh, it's only 30 more, they're more encouraged to stay.
Right.
Whereas like an hour and a half, I'm gonna go home. I'm not staying here for an hour and a half, because most of the time they're sitting there. They're kind of waiting for it to end, and they're like, I'm gonna sit here for another hour. Nah, okay, 30 more minutes. Okay, we can get them out there, and then us as the MC getting them engaged and trying to just have a good night.
Right.
I think we've been doing a really good job with it. I've been having really good endings and having everybody have a good time and positive momentum.
Totally.
At the end of the night.
Cool. All right. We're going to put a bow on this one.
Yep.
And call it an episode. And thank you guys for hanging out.
Appreciate you.
We'll see you. Whoops. That was the wrong one.
If you haven't seen that episode,
was-
go check it out. We got part 1 and part 2 out on Spotify. And then we also have part 1 on YouTube. Part 2 will come out here very soon. But yeah.
That was really weird. We're going to try this again.
We'll see you later.
We will see you guys next week or next time, whenever that is.
I like it.
So we're trying to do this at least once a month. We've been so busy, and I know some of you guys out there,
if we can get to like 70 by the end of the year, 75, it's pretty good.
We'll see. We'll try. All right. We're out.
Later.
Thanks for checking out the Cutmaster Cast podcast. Make sure you stay tuned with all things related at www.cutmastermusic.com.